And that's when we last saw the 29-year-old Russian right here in this arena, making his U.S. debut in August. He comes in now against Jackson Jr., the 28 from Sao Paulo, Brazil. As we take a look at the tail of the tape. And look at the taller fighter, as BJ pointed out when he was breaking down all the many good things that Vasily does. He uses that height advantage so well. The reach is right even. That is the tail of the tape. And we take a look at the rules. No standing 8 count, no 3 knockdown rule. Only the ref can stop the fight. Fighter can't be saved by the bell. And the fight is official after 4 rounds. So here it is, the showdown. Unbeaten light heavyweights to start us off. Let's go and meet them officially. And ring announcer Steve Mittman.
Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you to the Sands Bethlehem Event Center for Fight Night live on the NBC Sports Network. This contest is presented by Main Events, Peltz Boxing, BAM Boxing, Guermantino Promotions in association with the Sands Bethlehem Event Center, and Coors Light. 10 rounds in the light heavyweight division. Both of these fighters are undefeated. As they say, somebody's O has got to go. The officials assigned to this fight: Judge Michael Soma, Judge Tom Schreck, Judge Ronald McNair, and the referee in charge of the action when the bell rings, Gary Rosado. Introducing first, he's in the corner to my right. He is in the blue corner, wearing the blue trunks, weighing in at 153 pounds. Ladies and gentlemen, with a record of 15-0, 13 by way of knockout, he comes to us this evening from Sao Paulo, Brazil. Welcome, Jackson de Molodor Jr. Across the ring, he is in the red corner wearing the all-white trunks. He weighed in 175 pounds. An impressive record, 16 wins, no losses, 9 wins by knockout. From Russia, they call him the Professor. Here is Vasily Lepikhin.
Mouthpiece. Mouthpiece. Okay, gentlemen, I gave specific detailed instructions in the locker room. I'm only going to tell you 2 things. Protect yourselves at all times, and most importantly, obey my commands at all times. Touch gloves, bang at the bell. All right.
And there you see Lepikhin. He made his pro debut in November 2005. All those early fights were in Russia. And Jackson Jr. making his pro debut in 2006. All of his fights in Brazil or Mexico until recently. Had 2 in Verona, New York. This is his 3rd fight in the U.S. and it's underway. Light heavyweight scheduled for 10.
15-0, 13 knockouts, Kenny. He's got a lot of power in both hands. Said yesterday at the fighter meetings, he's going to come out winging from the very first bell, and you know, he's got that type of body that would suggest he could do it.
The real question about him will be the layoff. It's been 1 year and 27 days since Jackson's last fight.
That's been a long time. We'll see if ring rust comes into play here. He's already landed some decent punches on Lepikhin in the first round, but Lepikhin very calm, very composed, very cool in there. Doesn't seem to be fazed by much Jackson's doing. And this is a geography where I don't know if I want to be if I'm Jackson. Even though I'm the shorter guy, even though my record suggests I'm the harder puncher, Lepikhin is very efficient and he's very short on the inside. He gets good leverage on his punches. Nice overhand right by Jackson, but Lepikhin's very good in there, so good body shots by Jackson.
Lepikhin comes back with a couple of his own.
Both guys not scared to come forward. And neither guy wants to take a step back, Kenny. Nice combination from Lepikhin right there. Started with the left jab.
Remember to join tonight's social media Watch and Win. Follow at NBCSN on Twitter right now for a shot at signed boxing prizes. Got gloves with all 6 fighters' signatures. If the career turns out for Lepikhin like some think that it will, to be really valuable. He hit him with the right, and Junior was hurt with that a little bit.
Beautiful shot set up by the double jab, Kenny. Double jab blinded Junior. Lepikhin hit him with a nice straight right hand right down the middle. Junior's responded nicely, but Lepikhin's got that type of power that can change a fight.
We saw that in the Berich fight where Lepikhin basically dissected him with those jabs to set up the big punches.
Yeah, he did. He mixed it up really nicely. Jab up, jab down, set up the right hand, set up the uppercut. Showed a lot of poise. Fought a really complete fight in that night, Kenny. Good stuff from Lepikhin. Junior took the right hand, though. He took it nicely, and he doesn't look like he's affected too much by that punch, and he's still standing right in front of Lepikhin looking to land big shots.
Junior dominating most of his fights early, had 5 first-round knockouts in his career. As you might imagine, that changed a little bit as the competition got tougher. But he has 15 coming in here wins and 1 no contest. Round 1 coming to an end. Still feeling out process between these two unbeaten. Vasily Lepikhin, the professor, going to work with the jabs and the strong right here in the first.
Welcome back to Fight Night. Well, a lot of foreign-born fighters who want to make their home in the U.S. wind up moving to the U.S. to fight. Not Vasily Lepikhin. Lepikhin says he intends to stay in Russia for the duration and make that his home base. Lepikhin says he wants to make Russian a school-oriented program, and he has degrees in sports management and personal training. He says he wants to grow a good boxing base in Russia and develop tough, old-school fighters who just want to fight.
Thank you, our man on the scene, as always, Chris Mannix. As we start round 2, it's scheduled for 10. Lepikhin in the white. And according to CompuBox in that first round, he had 8-1 advantage in jabs and landed 11 more shots than did Junior.
Good
21-10.
Good shots by Junior against the ropes there. He's got to be careful not to be too wide with those punches, though, Kenny. He saw Lepikhin come out in the beginning of the second round, fired 3-4 good hard jabs in, lowered his left hand a little bit, trying to invite Junior to come in so he can look for opportunities to counterpunch. Bit of a different strategy for Lepikhin in the second round, giving Junior a different look. Nice double jab right hand.
And nice body shots.
Well, you see how he's going to get there. He's got to cut off the geography by sliding in behind that double jab. And when he's right there in range, he loves to dig down to that body. Nice shots by Lepikhin.
Junior pushing the action against the ropes.
Either guy can gain an advantage here. Nice body work by Lepikhin. Nice double left hook.
Good right by Junior.
He's doing some good work in there. And this is where Junior wants to fight. Junior wants to be on the inside. Lepikhin's got those short, crisp punches, but just based on the two guys' height, how they're built, their stature, everything like that, advantage Junior when they're standing right on the inside like that. And Junior landed a nice overhand right.
Even though he's the shorter fighter, each with 74-inch reach. And Lepikhin again trying to double up on those jabs.
Good shots, but you see Junior's kind of unfazed by a lot of those outside punches. I think Lepikhin would be better served to go straight down the middle, keep his range, mix that jab up and down, and look for opportunities to catch a smaller Junior. He doesn't need to go necessarily stand right in front of Junior and give up all of his height. But sometimes fighters in the first bell, they want to test each other out. They want to let the other guy know, hey, listen, I'm not going anywhere. So they will walk to you, try to fight inside for a little bit, and then let the tempo and the pace of the fight set in, and then go back to their original game plan.
Especially fighters, as both said, you know, they've studied the opponent to an extent, but they didn't really get into deep video sessions of looking at it as much as they did in their training camp of doing what they feel comfortable to get ready for this fight.
And, you know, I'm the type of fighter where I feel like it's a mistake. I don't feel like, you know, watching your opponent can do any harm. Yeah, maybe he's not going to fight exactly like he did in the last fight, but at least it gives you a better idea of nice shot by Lepikhin. And he caught Junior crouching out. Nice short right.
That was a nice short right. And that's what we saw with Lepikhin against Berich when he fought him here in August tonight. He can just slide those in at any moment.
And that's the range where he needs to be, Kenny. Straight punches right down the middle. That's where he'll have his most success against Junior.
Good round for him as round 2 comes to an end.
And you see in that last round, Vasily Lepikhin doing some very good work. Had Junior against the ropes. Nice left hook behind the gloves of Junior, digging in a nice body shot. Nothing too clean, but he's got the right idea. Later in the round, Jackson Jr., nice overhand right, punching in between the combination of Lepikhin. Good work by both fighters.
And as we go into round 3, it's scheduled for 10, these undefeated light heavyweights. Lepikhin in the white. And according to CompuBox, he finished off that last round landing 8-0 over Junior and 14-5 in power punches overall.
And you see Lepikhin came out in the first round, both hands up high, both hands around his ears. Now, he's dropped his left hand down, he's kind of backing his stance in a little more, and he's trying to look to set up the jab and the right hand. Good strategy by his corner and by Lepikhin.
Doubles up on that jab once again. That has been so effective for him in the past.
Something else that's changed in this fight. When both fighters get close now, after Lepikhin is done punching, he looks to hold instead of to exchange like he did in the first round. Junior has proven his strength to Lepikhin, and Lepikhin believes him now.
And Junior pushing the action right against the ropes, and Lepikhin will wrestle him away.
And Kenny, Junior's doing good work in there. He's phasing and affecting Lepikhin a little bit, and you saw Lepikhin get out of that clinch. He tried to fall in. Junior hit him with a nice right uppercut and definitely got his attention. Lepikhin's a little uncomfortable.
Let's check in with Chris.
Guys, Lepikhin's corner told Lepikhin after that last round that they wanted to stop clinching so much. They liked that the fight was on the inside, but they said when Jackson comes in like that, to use the uppercut and hammer the body.
And I disagree. I think Lepikhin's doing his better work when he's not on the inside. Jackson has a big advantage when he's on the inside. Lepikhin standing straight up. He's not moving his head. Look at his feet. His feet are right next to each other. It's impossible for him to get leverage on any punch when his feet are side by side. He's squared up against the ropes, and he's giving Jackson opportunities to score and get points and potentially hurt him.
And Jackson Jr. with a couple of nice body shots there, trying to look for that opening for the uppercut, can't quite find it.
And if I'm in the corner of Junior, I'm going to tell my fighter when he's standing straight against the ropes like that, land your punch, take a step to the right or the left. Create an angle. Do something that can open up more offense for you to land more combinations. Both guys kind of just content to stand in front of each other, Kenny.
Jackson Jr. taking the fight more toward him here in this third round.
Nice right uppercut by Lepikhin. Kind of grazed off the gloves of Junior, but you can tell he's starting to time those punches and get a little closer on it.
And Junior continues to push the pace here in this third round.
Nice short right uppercuts on the inside. Those are damaging punches. Very tough to defend against those punches.
Final round, final seconds, round 3. Junior looking impressive here. And we go to round 4. It's scheduled for 10 undefeated light heavyweights. Vasily Lepikhin in the white, and in the blue is Jackson Jr. And in that last round, as the lights almost went out, yes, there was a dimming of the lights here in the arena. And now the fight resumes. Lepikhin, 16 power punches, Junior 15 power punches. So it's a question accuracy or volume. They were both in that same ballpark. Junior appeared to be pushing the pace a lot more in that last round, I thought.
Yeah, I like Junior in the last round, Kenny. I thought he was a little more effective on his punches. Lepikhin did good work in the first and second rounds, but Junior showed that, you know, he's in this fight, and he's a very strong puncher, and he's very aggressive, and he did some really good work.
Let's check in with Chris.
Guys, Jackson Jr. was fairly critical of Lepikhin's defense during our fighter meetings, saying he didn't expect there to be many problems getting into the inside. When we asked Jr. whose style he emulates, he named one of the best inside fighting heavyweights in history, Iron Mike Tyson.
That would be a guy to emulate.
Well, I don't know if I see that in Junior, but I see, you know, definitely he gets a lot of leverage in his punches. He's very explosive, but he's got to be careful. On these in-between phases where he's trying to work his way inside, he is susceptible to the Lepikhin right hand and the Lepikhin jab. So he's got to be careful not to get hit with those shots while he's working his way in.
And that was a nice left by Junior. And Junior trying to follow up on that.
He's doing some real good work here, Kenny.
Lepikhin wise to clinch up.
But this is the part in the fight where 4 rounds in of 10, this is where Lepikhin has to seize control with his jab, stay on the outside. He doesn't need to force the issue. He can just stand there and pick Junior off with the jab, set up combinations like he did in his last fight. But instead, he's letting Junior bull him against the ropes and take advantage of the fight here. And he looks like he's starting to fade a little bit in my eyes.
And just when you think he might have lost some zip, Lepikhin comes right back. This is the start of a triple header here on Fight Night. Mikalenko, who is undefeated against the local favorite here in Cruz, and then Mansour coming off his first career loss against Cassie. Heavyweights in our main event.
Beautiful right uppercut by Jackson Jr., Kenny, and I think Lepikhin's in a little trouble here. He's been stunned by some of the Junior punches. He's lost control of the geography. Jackson is able to walk right in. Lepikhin's not doing anything to stop him. He's still able to fire combinations, but Jackson isn't really struggling to, to fight off the power of Lepikhin, and he's walking through a lot of those punches.
Junior has taken the fight to him, especially in the last 2 rounds. He has pushed the pace, and I wonder if that has surprised Lepikhin just a bit.
Well, I don't think he should be surprised because his neglect of the left jab. If he's using the left jab and Junior still comes in, hey, be surprised. But he hasn't used that punch, and Junior is starting to do better work.
Jackson Jr., another good round. The Brazilian showing his power against Lepikhin. Back live in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, round 5 scheduled for 10 unbeaten light heavyweights. Vasily Lepikhin in the white, coming in here at 16-0. Jackson Jr. 15-0.
Big right uppercut by Jackson Jr. He just caught Lepikhin. Lepikhin, Kenny, in this round, he's got to do something in this round. I feel like in the last 2 rounds, Junior's had a lot of momentum. He's starting to take the fight consistently to Lepikhin, and Lepikhin needs to turn it around in this round if he wants to get back in this thing.
Look at this, as close as you can get. Lepikhin and Junior. Lepikhin throwing 1 more punch than Junior. They each landed 11 in the power department. And Junior certainly has power. 13 of his 15 wins coming by knockout. And for more, let's go to Chris.
Guys, Junior Jackson's corner very happy after that last round. They said, keep up the pressure, move your head more, and when he throws that jab, get around it and land your big shot.
And indeed, he has the big shot. He had it throughout most of his career, those 13 knockouts for Junior, the 28-year-old from Brazil in the blue with his country's flag on the side of the trunks, and Vasily Lepikhin from Russia, who comes in here a perfect 16-0. Made his U.S. debut in this very arena back in August and won with a 5th-round TKO. Very different scenario here tonight.
You see Lepikhin, now when he gets close to Junior, he looks to grab a hold of him, clinch him. He doesn't like the power of Junior when he gets inside close. So that's where he needs to stay right there, Kenny. The double jab, the single jab, mix it up, mix it down, take a step to the right, take a step to the left. Make Junior think you're going to do something you're not, and make him pay. But once again, he's being a bit lackadaisical on the outside. He's got that left hand down. He's ready to counter, but he's not. Nice combination there. When I say he's not doing, he fires off a nice combination.
Well, that's always the way he is. He's very unassuming when you talk to him on the street or when you see him in the ring, and then suddenly he has that explosion. But we've yet to see it exactly that way tonight.
You see in the clinch here, whenever he gets close, his corner is demanding him to rip body punches, get close, fire away. And it just makes it difficult because he's so tall in there. It's very tough to get down to the level of Junior and have the proper mental leverage on those punches.
As we saw Lepikhin with 4 times the number of jabs to Junior's, they were more effective in the early going. As Junior continues to make this fight end close, he'll take it right to Lepikhin once again.
It's something very important. When one man hits the other man, who's moving that guy? And Junior is definitely moving Lepikhin when he lands those punches. So that's a good sign in the corner of Junior.
Another aggressive round for Jackson Jr.
Close round, Kenny.
Ronald Cruz is backstage. He lives just a few blocks from here in Bethlehem. The 28-year-old who has won 20 times, 15 by knockout, taking on Dmitry Nikolienko, who is undefeated at 17-0. And after that will be the main event. Fred Cassie from Cameroon lives now in New Orleans, 18-2, 10 wins by knockout. Getting ready to take on Amir Mansour. That will be in the main event. Meanwhile, to start this triple header, unbeaten light heavyweights going to round 6, scheduled for 10. Vasily Lepikhin in the white, and in the blue with his country's flag of Brazil on his trunks, Jackson Jr., who has put on a good show here with some good rounds that he's building up. How do you see the fight so far, BJ Flores?
You know, I got it relatively close through the first 5 rounds. You know, I think Lepikhin might have gotten 3, Junior might have 2. Could go either way on the scorecards, to be honest with you. I just think the momentum of the fight is in Junior's favor a bit. He's starting to be more aggressive. He's starting to fight on the inside when he wants to fight on the inside, and Lepikhin has been slightly uncomfortable over the last couple of rounds. So so it's interesting.
And sometimes we saw the stats there where Lepikhin threw more punches in that last round. Are you surprised by the way this fight is unfolding?
Not necessarily, because, you know, Junior's the shorter guy. He told us in the fighter meetings, I'm going to get in close, I'm going to make him pay. And, you know, Lepikhin is just a little too content to let Junior get in close without spinning off to the side or without shooting a sharp combination and getting out of the way. He's got to do one or the other. He can't stand there and take the punishment like that, because that's the only way Junior can get in the fight.
As Chris Mannix mentioned earlier, Junior was very confident yesterday at the fighter meeting. He said he was impressed by Lepikhin's U.S. debut, and that's why he wanted this fight. But he also didn't come in until Thursday of this week. A little bit unusual from his usual pattern.
That is unorthodox. You know, normally it takes a guy a little longer to get accustomed, but, you know, Junior came out and, you know, he's really applying pressure on Lepikhin. He's making him fight regardless of what happens in this fight. He's showing that he belongs to be in a fight like this, and, you know, that's what he wanted to do. He wanted to show and prove to the public that he is a force in the light heavyweight division.
He has a no contest. He was hammered, actually knocked down 3 times in the 4th round by Humberto Savine, but Savine tested positive for drugs after that fight, so it was ruled a no contest. That's why Junior is still shown as an undefeated fighter.
Well, you know, obviously, if there's anything illegal that takes place in the testing, then you have to respect that, and that fight can't be considered as a real fight. So, you know, nice job to the commission of wherever that fight took place and enforcing the rules and making sure that, you know, that Junior wasn't penalized for a fighter on any type of illegal substance.
And we wondered earlier about this layoff of more than a year, almost a year and a month. He has shown no signs of ring rust, has Junior.
Good body shot by Lepikhin a second ago. But, Kenny, Lepikhin's going to have his moments on the inside. There's no question he's a good inside fighter. But when he's standing up straight up, look at his feet once again. He's completely squared against the ropes. He can't get leverage on his punches. And even more so than that, it's hard to get out of the way of punches when you can't bend your legs. First of all, he's almost 6'4" against a 5'10" Junior. It's very, very difficult to have success in those short quarters like that.
As he covers up, Junior's able to slide a couple of punches in there that got his attention. That was a good left by Junior. Final seconds of round 6. They continue to go at it, these unbeaten light heavyweights.
See some real good work from Junior in the last round, letting his hands go, having Lepikhin against the ropes. Nothing that drastic or nothing that powerful, but just letting his hands go, Kenny, and scoring points, putting rounds in the bag.
As we go into round 7 now, back to live action here in Bethlehem. For the first time in this fight, according to CompuBox, Junior outlanded Lepikhin in that 6th round, 20-14.
And Kenny, I saw him outland him with the sheer number of punches, but I also saw him land some of the harder punches also. And that's, you know, that's a telling thing. You know, if both fighters land 15 punches, 16 punches, you got to go with who lands the cleaner shots. And in the last round, that was Junior. And I just think, you know, Lepikhin's completely got the wrong strategy in this fight, Kenny. He doesn't need to be inside pushing with a strong, short fighter. He needs to stand on the outside and make Junior come to him and make him pay. And it's just a perfect example of a guy when he's got a bad strategy. He might be the better fighter, but with a bad strategy, it's going to make it very difficult.
A lot of attention to Lepikhin, ranked number 10 in the WBO, number 12 in the WBA after that strong U.S. debut here in August. Some comparing him down the road, perhaps, to Sergey Kovalev as the next potential light heavyweight contender. So all that ballyhoo coming into this fight, it may be a surprise for some people that Jackson Jr. is hanging right in there and maybe even doing a little better. Let's check in with Chris.
Guys, as you might expect, Lepikhin's corner understandably frustrated by Lepikhin's lack of movement these last few rounds. They told him, don't stand in one place, throw 2 and 3 punch combinations, and make him chase you around the ring.
And that's perfect advice, Kenny. That's absolutely perfect. Now, why Lepikhin isn't doing it, that's another factor. Fatigue could have set in. A shot from Junior could have hurt him and affected him a little bit, and he's trying to get his bearings. But he's definitely not following his corner's game plan, and he's making the fight much more difficult than it needs to be by walking right into the shorter man.
BJ's had burst, but for the most part, these middle rounds now, he has looked lethargic at times.
Yeah, he has, and the reason for that, look at his feet position. His feet are right next to each other. He's not in that left foot forward, right foot back stance. It's very difficult to get leverage on your punches when your feet are together like that. He's a tall guy. He's standing straight up on the inside. You can't fight on the inside and be effective when you're doing those things.
And Gary Rosado is just giving a warning now to Lepikhin for holding. Once again, as you heard Gary say, I will tell you no more.
And it's just, you know, flat and simple. You know, Lepikhin's uncomfortable in there, Kenny. When he's inside, he's not able to find range. He's landed some good punches like right there, but then Junior always finds a way to come right back, and Lepikhin clinches. Not doing enough on the outside to make it a clear-cut round.
Pressing the action once again, Jackson Jr. here as the 7th comes to an end.
Both fighters, Kenny, in the last round, both fighters got a very stern warning about holding behind the head. You see the right hand of Lepikhin. Junior's got it cupped. He can't get it back. Both guys got warned, and you know, the referee's starting to keep a real close eye on both fighters.
As we go into the 8th round, Lepikhin 7 times in his career has gone this far, 3 times for Junior. Lepikhin overall has won 7 by decision, Junior by 2. We look at the punches through the 7 rounds, 118 to 74 landed by Lepikhin compared to Junior. Although it could be argued that Junior has landed some of the more powerful shots in this and certainly has pushed the pace throughout.
Yeah, he has. Junior's definitely pushed the pace for the majority of the middle rounds so far, but it looks like Lepikhin has come out in this 8th round and he's really starting to follow his corner's advice. More crisp punches from the outside. Combinations and getting your head off the center, not standing there and falling in and giving Junior an opportunity to counter and be offensive.
Interesting stat of the night so far. Neither man threw a jab in that last round.
Well, you know, I think it was the geography of that round, where that round took place. Both guys were chest to chest, head to head the entire time, and there's just no space to shoot a jab when you're standing in there with the 5'11" guy when you're 6'4". You got to hit him when he's on his way in. And I don't know if Lepikhin, if fatigue has set in or what exactly has happened. Maybe he struggled making the weight, but he does appear to be a bit lethargic, Kenny. And his feet aren't completely under him, and maybe it's the Jackson Jr. punches that have affected him. Maybe he's felt the power a bit, and it could be a number of different things, but he's definitely fighting differently than we saw him last time.
Junior's still trying to get that uppercut in, barely missing once again.
And it goes back to boxing 101. The basic arithmetic of boxing, if you're 6'4", you don't stand chest to chest with a guy who's 5'11", who's a big puncher, and try to push him around the ring. You use your skills, use your ability. He's from Russia. He's got a great amateur pedigree. He's got good straight punches. Use those tools and make this fight easy.
Coming up after this, junior middleweights, Dmitry Mikalenko, who is undefeated at 17-0, and Ronald Cruz from right here in Bethlehem, 20-4 in his career. Amir Mansour and Fred Cassie in our main event, heavyweights.
Nice right hand by Jackson Jr. And it wasn't a technique fundamental punch, Kenny, but it was an overhand right, and that's a very good punch against the taller fighter on the inside. He got the attention of Lepikhin again. Lepikhin was having a good round, but he was affected by that punch.
Gary Rosado was emphatic when he went to Lepikhin's corner between rounds, by the way, to make sure they understood there was going to be a point deducted if they had to hold one more time, as this round comes to an end. And back live, fight night here in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. This triple header starting off with a great fight. Vasily Lepikhin pushed here into the 9th round by Jackson Jr., who's been off for over 1 year, both undefeated, these light heavyweights, and both going right at it again here in round 9.
Lepikhin comes out, double jab, right hand, double jab, right hand. Great so far. The only thing he forgot to do was make the defensive move after the right hand. Junior saw that, capitalized with a nice overhand right. Once again, got the attention of Lepikhin.
BJ, how do you think this fight is at this moment now as we go into this 9th round?
You know, it's going to be a close fight. I think Lepikhin's probably slightly ahead, but Junior's made him work every second for it. And, you know, whoever wins these last 2 rounds, you know, it's still, the fight could still be up in the air. So Junior realized that. He's being aggressive, and I think he feels comfortable with where he's at in the fight so far. He's coming forward and making the fight.
Lepikhin 22-7, landing jabs throughout this fight.
Nice body shot by Lepikhin.
Break, no punches.
They break again. Let's check in with Chris.
Guys, Junior's corner told him after that last round to stick to the basics. They said to keep moving your head and get under that jab. When you get inside, it's your fight.
And it has been, when basically he's made it, let's go to the phone booth and slug it out. It's been good for Jackson Jr. tonight.
And Junior hasn't had to worry about taking the jab of Lepikhin away until the last few rounds. Lepikhin kind of went back to the drawing board and said, okay, I'm going to start jabbing you. I'm going to make you earn when you come inside. And something Junior can do really effective is land that overhand right on the top of that jab. I was just going to say that. And at that exact second, he landed a beautiful punch on Lepikhin over the top of that jab. The overhand right is a very good punch, especially if you can time it well. He just did that against Lepikhin. Good shot.
Slides another right in and stays right in the face of Lepikhin.
But it's a timing shot, Kenny. You see when Lepikhin's going to push that jab out. You shoot the straight right hand or the overhand right at the same time. An overhand right beats a jab, if you can time it right.
Junior has thrown 90 more power punches than Lepikhin in this fight. That's punches thrown. That's how active he has been throughout. How will that weigh on the judges is to be seen.
Beautiful double jab right hand by Lepikhin, and that's what you got to see out of Lepikhin. He landed a nice double jab right hand, slid out of harm's way, and you know what? He was a little rough with Junior on the ropes there, but this is a fight, and he got out of harm's way and didn't give Junior a chance to land. Very good work. He needs to keep doing that. Land his shots. When Junior gets in, be rough, be physical, but then get right outside again and land him again.
More physical than we've seen Lepikhin in the past.
Good work by Lepikhin, right down the middle. Good sound shots.
And again, as this round comes to an end.
Like Lepikhin's got a bit of a second win, and he's had some success in this round.
Lepikhin with his best round, perhaps, going back to the middle part of this fight. We're staying here as we get ready now for the 10th and final round. Vasily Lepikhin, Jackson Jr., light heavyweights. Neither man has lost. Lepikhin comes in here, as you see him in his corner, ranked number 10 in the world by the WBO, moved into the top 10 after an impressive win here in his U.S. debut against Robert Berridge. And we take a look now at action in that last round, BJ.
Yeah, both guys did really good work. Junior lands a beautiful overhand right off the jab of Lepikhin. That's something we talked about earlier in the round. He's got to time that punch and look to land it, but you see Lepikhin later in the round, double jab right hand, maintaining his range, maintaining his distance and his spacing. He won that round on my scorecard, Kenny.
Ladies and gentlemen,
so we're going to the 10th and final round.
Great fight to get us started. You know, going into the 10th round, on paper it appeared that Lepikhin would be too much for Junior, but that's why they get in the ring and fight, because you never know until they start throwing punches.
And Lepikhin's so dominant that last fight against the New Zealander Berridge, but this is a much different fighter, much more polished fighter in Jackson Jr., who has fought at a higher level of competition, and it's showing here as we go into this last round.
And instead of saying Lepikhin isn't that good, I'm going to say, hey, Junior rose to the challenge.
I think that's it.
And he's fighting a guy who is prepared. He got up for the occasion. He's fighting a great fight. And Jackson Jr. is a very serious guy in the light heavyweight division.
And they're both bringing it to start this final round. Lepikhin looks like a fresher fighter now.
You see he's relaxed a little more. He's settled. Junior's got to be working his way in. He can't just stand on the outside. That's the range we've been talking about. I've been screaming for him to stay right there and shoot those kind of punches the entire fight and make this fight easy. You see when he does it, he has a very easy time with Junior. Clinch him there, get physical, and get right back outside.
As Lepikhin basically gave him a stiff arm instead of a jab just a moment ago and slid a couple of rights in.
It's a fight, Kenny.
And coming right back is Junior.
Big left hook by Junior.
The left, the overhand right. They have both been effective at times in this fight.
There's a good shot by Junior, but Lepikhin's got himself to blame. His feet were squared up, and world-rated fighters don't get hit with long, looping, lunging, lead left hooks like that. So Lepikhin's got some work to do himself, because I know it's late in the fight. I know he's tired, but you don't get hit in the 10th round by a lead left hook that was telegraphed like that. Lepikhin might be a little tired himself.
Let's check in with Chris.
Guys, not much urgency in Lepikhin's corner after that last round. They told him to throw those 2 and 3 punch combinations, move, and just don't let him tie you up.
I'm guessing they think they have this fight.
Yeah, I mean, I think they've got it on the scorecards. Lepikhin's done some really good work, but it's not how you win. It's not when, if you win, it's how you win sometimes. And I would just like to see Lepikhin, you know, with such momentum. You know, a lot of people are expecting a lot of things out of him to really stick to his game plan and make Junior fight his fight. And it's been the opposite. Junior's kind of made Lepikhin fight his fight, and he's drug him into a dogfight, and Lepikhin hasn't looked as impressive as he did in his last one.
He's showing more bite here in this last round, doubling up on the jab once again. did that effectively in the 9th round as well. That's what Lepikhin does so well.
Yeah, I had him winning that 9th round. I have him winning this 10th round so far. Junior landed a nice left hook, but Lepikhin's still done the better work. And, you know, I think Junior's going to have to do something drastic to get a decision here. But, you know, he could take a lot of positives from this fight. I mean, he's landed a lot of good shots. He's been very effective. And, you know, Lepikhin needs to go back to the drawing board and, you know, really focus on maintaining his strengths. His strengths are his size, his reach, his height advantage, his range, and he hasn't done that in this fight. So, you know, he's still got a little room for improvement, but a good effort by both guys. Nice work from Lepikhin right there.
Vasily Lepikhin trying to stay unbeaten. Jackson Jr. trying to stay unbeaten. Final seconds of this fight. And that's it. Great start to fight night by these unbeaten light heavyweights. Lepikhin and Junior, who won it? We will have the judge's decision when we come back live to Bethlehem, Pennsylvania on Fight Night. Terrific start here to Fight Night in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Vasily Lepikhin and Jackson Jr. going the distance, all 10 rounds between these undefeated light heavyweights. We wait the judge's verdict. Let's take a look at the highlights, BJ.
Yeah, some really good work by Lepikhin early in the fight. Started off with the double jab, right hand. Junior coming back with some nice looping punches on the inside. More good stuff from him through round 2. Lepikhin on the inside, standing too straight up and leaving himself susceptible to the overhand right of Junior. Nice shot by him. Lepikhin coming back later in the round, digging body shots. Good stuff. Now here in these middle rounds, we start to see Jackson Jr. apply pressure to Lepikhin. Pound the body, let his hands go. Made Vasily a bit uncomfortable. Made him go back to the drawing board. And then in round 10, Lepikhin kind of closed the show nicely. Nice left hook by Junior, but a round that Lepikhin was clearly in control of. Landed the cleaner, harder punches, and nice way to close the fight in the rounds 9 and 10 for Vasily Lepikhin.
And you see Lepikhin 165 to 95 according to CompuBox in total punches landed. In jabs, it was all Lepikhin dominating this fight and doing so well, especially when he was able to double up. And in power punches, a lot thrown by Junior, actually more than Lepikhin, but Lepikhin landing 130, a 45% clip. The judges have rendered their decision, and here to read the verdict, let's go back to Steve.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 10 rounds in the light heavyweight division, we go to the scorecards. Judge Michael Soma scored at 97 to 93. Judge Tom Schreck sees it 96 to 94. And Judge Ronald McNair scores at 97 to 93 as well. We have a unanimous decision. Ladies and gentlemen, the winner, Vasily the Professor Lepikhin.
Lepikhin going to 17-0, winning for the 8th time by decision. This a unanimous decision over Jackson Jr. And your thoughts?
Yeah, Jackson Jr., he fought a very good fight. He came on strong in those middle rounds, and that's what made it so interesting because you didn't know what was going to happen in the last 3 rounds. But Vasily Lepikhin regained control, won rounds 9 and 10 very clearly, and on my scorecard, I agree with the judges.
So a good showing here by Jackson Jr., laying off for over a year, but the Brazilian comes in and goes the distance against the top 10 rated Lepikhin. Lepikhin getting the unanimous decision win. He is still unbeaten, still a force in the light heavyweight ranks. And much more coming up. 2 more fights live here on Fight Night from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Junior middleweights. When we come